What's up, Sunday fam? Welcome back to another video. We're doing things a little bit differently today, practicing social distancing, connected via satellite to Flip. We're talking about Evernight 2. This season went by really fast because in our previous video, we were talking about how they could up the stakes or, one up themselves because the first season was really, really good. And we kind of went straight from season 1 to season 2 because we were just like all caught up in the story.
Yeah, it was definitely great to just jump straight from season 1 to season 2. First, I just wanted to say that we were way off on the prediction that Long Qing was the son of Hades. Like right off the bat, like that was just way off. Like, well, obviously,
not completely off, because I think in the first or second episode of season 2, when they're fighting, he does say,
it seemed like it.
He does say to Ning Chui, he does say, "You're the son of Hades. I'm the son of Hades." Like,
exactly.
He's all up in his like negative, evil guy thing.
Yeah, but as we got into more and more episodes, it was just so much darker. This season was so much darker. We find out that Sang Sang was essentially, or Sang Sang was essentially, both the child of Hades, or the daughter of Hades, and the child of light. She was kind of light and darkness.
Like the duality of it all.
She was like the yin and the yang, and I thought that was really fitting because it was essentially like her choices or kind of what she thought of humanity within herself and what she's witnessing in front of her that essentially woke up the darkness in her. And then there was this insane awakening with her, the Heavenly Maiden, and Futsie, which was amazing. I don't know what your reaction was when you saw that action sequence, but we finally got to see Futsie, just get into action. Yeah.
I kind of like Futs's take on the matter. I don't think she was two things. I think when he says absolute light is absolute darkness, and I think what Sang Sang was just two sides of the same coin instead of like two different entities.
Yeah, I like the way
the child of light is actually the child of darkness, or Hades.
Yeah, I really like that interpretation, and I think it can be interpreted in so many different ways. But essentially, it's just like you can't have light without darkness, and vice versa, right? And that's essentially like the story of the human world, which makes this story just one of the best stories that I've ever seen or that I've ever experienced, because it wasn't just about godlike levels of cultivation. It was also like a human story, and we got to witness that through these characters and through their emotions and through their stories. It was more than just the fighting, but it was definitely very emotional, very relevant to like the human side of things.
Yeah, and bringing it back to where we were discussing things in season 1 and how they were going to one up themselves and how they were going to, do better or make things grander than season 1. So season 1 was kind of like Ning Chui's journey to vengeance and his arc in cultivation. But in season 2, they did manage to up the stakes. They did manage to increase the scale by tenfold by making it such a worldly matter, where Ning Chui and Sang Sang are against the world.
Exactly.
It's no longer just about him and his kind of like isolated storyline.
Could we just give a shout out to Dylan Wang? Like, he did a great job. I thought he did an amazing job. Like, I thought his charisma and his chemistry with Sang Sang in the second season was much more wholesome, much more sincere, and I felt their relationship much more than Arthur Chen in season 1.
I think what Dylan Wang did better was actually play a more mature Ning Chui. And now, obviously, the show's not without its faults, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of recasts, right? And so there's a lot of social dynamics and rapport that's just missing, because we'll watch a scene between two people who are completely new to each other, instead of like we have Song Song, who is, you know, Song Yiren, and then a new Ning Chui. But then we get a scene between like two people who are two different characters, and then they're gonna like wax nostalgic and refer to like a scene that they had in season 1. We're like, no, I don't have these memories of you two like talking to each other. You guys are two different actors.
Yes, I thought it was very comical when the king, of the emperor of Tang, was suddenly like all buddy, and his delivery of that kind of character, his portrayal of the emperor was such a contrast to the first emperor in the first season, and so that threw me off a little bit. But you know, it didn't change how enjoyable it was for season 2. Like honestly, like when Futse was fighting that dragon, it was just so majestic. And then the revelation with third senior being the demon sect chief. I don't know, what was your reaction? Because I know I was texting you that time. I was like, bro, and I put like fire emojis all over the place until you got there.
I was trying to anticipate what you were like talking about, because I know you were a couple of episodes ahead of me at that point, but you know, there are a lot of things that I saw when I was catching up to you that I was like, bro, and so like I think, yeah, that's definitely one of the standouts, especially since we hadn't seen much of the third senior sister. We saw, you know, Lee Man Man and Jun Mo and their potential for like great and epic fights, but then she came out and then she started floating, and then when Chong Mo or the hierarchs like changed his facial expression to like, what the hell is this? And I knew something special was happening.
Yeah, it was, you know, her cicada demon cultivation powers were, I don't know, it just brought a different dynamic to the powers that everybody else had. You know, Man Man is the freestylist who's like no distance, which is of its own another epic scale of, you know, fights against you know, the heavenly leader, heaven's pillar leader or whatever. And then Junmo is obviously versus Lu Bai, but the cicada dynamic of the cultivation and demon sect powers, that was just different, because we don't expect something like that in terms of cultivation and the fight scenes that we get to experience.
And so moving on from there, I do want to point something out. It's probably a personal opinion of mine. Leave it in the comment section down below if you agree or disagree with me, but I totally shipped Ning Chui and Mo Shanshan so hard, and I kept on getting really annoyed at him, particularly because, now this is probably just my perspective, but his relationship with Song Song, although it's very, very close, it's very, very familial, that's all it kind of felt like to me. It felt like a sister-brother connection. And whenever they did turn to like this romantic side of it, when you're like, oh, give me a kiss, or oh, we should hold hands, I didn't really feel romance as much as I did with Mo Shanshan and Ning Chui in the first season, where they were kind of playfully flirting and just like smiling at each other, you know, giving each other glances, and that's why I shipped them so hard. I don't know, what do you think?
I totally agree with you. Like, although Sang Sang and Ning Chui's relationship are supposed to be like purely out of love, it is more familial, right? Like, it's more of like that playful kind of romance, and it was almost like, I feel like it's to me, it's probably one of the things that bothered me throughout the entire
it's like a
season.
Independent relationship, right?
Yeah, like there was definitely a little bit more of a platonic kind of relationship with Mo Shanshan. Like their chemistry was a little bit more, I guess you could say, more mature. And then with Sang Sang and Ning Chui, that was just a little bit more childish, and it felt a little weird that they would have some kind of some kind of like physical romantic chemistry versus what that relationship would be with Mo Shanshan.
I don't know if this goes as a negative or I guess just a kind of an ambivalent perspective. The end was, I appreciated the end because it was very emotional, but at the same time I was like, wait, what just happened? He jumped off the cliff and then he woke up in her lap and then suddenly she was, amicable to him and wanted to travel with him. And then the next scene is like, she's song. So,
I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a season 3. Like, honestly, I don't want a season 3. Like, I think it was really good how it ended. Like, everything kind of came together and culminated. Futsi, sacrificed himself and became the moon. So that's that. Like, thank you, teacher. That kind of thing. And then, I think it was just the light and the darkness coming together and realizing how special the human world is. And so it's kind of like. It's almost like Ningxie. Like, I don't know how you interpreted it, but I think it was Ningxie. He pretty much sacrificed himself to be together with this new Sang, with the Heavenly Maiden, to let her experience the wonders of the human world, in order to save the human world. And I think it was poetic and romantic to end it that way.
Yeah, definitely. It was poetic in that sense. Once I accepted it, I was just like kind of thrown off that she was suddenly, on his side and just wanted to travel with him because like it really was a 180 because prior to that she was just kicking his ass.
It was all about those sour and spicy noodles. You can't deny the sour and spicy noodles.
As a whole, I think like probably like if not a top 2, I'd say probably my favorite wuxia xianxia drama, and I feel like it's going to affect my outlook on future series where it kind of is similar in subject matter.
Yeah, and I want to thank everybody in the comments section for just really kind of giving us some options out there. Like we've said before, we're pretty much novices and we're getting used to this genre, but there's been some really good comments in there, really good suggestions, and I think for me we haven't seen enough to really kind of make that list.
I guess so far then.
Yeah.
And so if you guys are following us through this kind of Cdrama wuxia journey, I would implore you guys to stay tuned, subscribe, leave a like on this video because we are going to be watching the Untamed Fatal Journey. We are going to make an effort to watch all of your recommendations. Legend of Fu Yao, and I know Legend of Fae is coming out. There's a lot of stuff that we are reading all of your comments and we are trying to watch all of this because every single series is like 50 plus episodes and
so much.
But stick around, subscribe. We will get through all of these series, so look out for those videos when we get to them. But in any case, that'll do it for our season 2 final review of Evernight. It was a great series. Leave it in the comment section down below what you thought of our opinions on it, and we'll see you in the next video.